glad to see you. Becky is flying in. She's in Kentucky at a Federalist Society organized debate, and she's wanted me to be sure to pay her. Oh, yes, indeed. Oh, sure. Okay, well, thank you. Okay, good night, lady. How are you? You're looking great. $1 million bucks. Yeah, thank God. Well, you couldn't possibly have been an ambassador 30 years ago.
And Ray and Luciforo. I just ran unsuccessfully, I'm sad to say, in a Democratic primary at this time. So I'll now be going back into the law practice after 10 years on state Senate. Good to see you, Jay.
Party over here. Right here. Yes, I built the and a great
Hello, Faith. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was supposed to be there. Why don't I get behind you?
Yes, we have it. I paid Bill Fiakovich, and nice to see you again. Congratulations. We're so excited.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Are you friends with Faith?
How sweet you are.
Yeah, we live in Chestnut Hill. Right here, DC.
Excuse me. Watch out for Bill. Thank you.
Yeah, 2 years ago, it was a fantastic time. It's great to be here. Thank you.
How are you? Let's do it quick.
I think there's a lot of good spirit in the room.
I will.
How are you? It's wonderful to see you. Well, you know, actually, since I went to the law firm, I've lost 25 pounds, so that's good. Thank you. It's wonderful to see you. What a delight. All 4 of my little kids, yes, doing very well. Well, you know, yes. So now a junior, 7th grade, 2 and 3 months. Thank you.
You made me certifiable that you don't have to be young to be a young leader. It's just an attitude. We're going to win this presidential thing? What are we going to... I was talking. We're going to win.
Hello, Paige. Congratulations this evening. So proud of you.
Hi, I'm Alan Bolligan. Nice to meet you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Ambassador, how are you? How can I miss out? I'm so thankful for you and your great job. 9 years old. So, enjoy your evening. I'm going to say hi to you.
Many miles wherever, whenever. You look terrific, and this is a great event. I get to get my picture taken again?
No, you know each other. I met her in the late 80s.
I have a picture of you and me on the day you were sworn in as ambassador. And I treasure it.
I treasure your friendship.
Likewise. It's good to see you, Faith.
That's for sure. Faith, hi. I'm so pleased I could come tonight. Jackie wants to send regards, and Dominic Pileggi said to tell you hello. And Fred Anton told me the story of how you were spirited up with the Union League in a dumbwaiter. When you were going to run for lieutenant governor, and they wouldn't let women in except for the first floor. Oh, thank you.
Good to see you. Oh, I wish you too, yes. Good to have you down here. So. Sure, I'll get you some.
Hello. Good to see you. Hi. So great to see you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Yes, let's get a good picture. Okay. Take my glasses off. We'll get one more. I'll take one more. I do. Yes, I have an 8-year-old. So, yeah. Now we're just grandkids and kids. Are they really? I've never met them. Oh, good. Should we go get the coffee? Remember me, Renee? Yes, I'm Justin. Hi. Precious. Yes. Hi. Good to see you. And I hope.
Oh yes, we will. We will. We tried to talk Angela Chimini and she didn't come.
Oh.
Justin, I think we have to wait a minute. I didn't realize.
You're very busy.
We're sitting with them next to Amy.
Next to Amy?
Yes.
Oh, that could be Amy.
And John. All right, now what? Okay. 19 today.
I'm Thomas. Nice to meet you.
Stephen Hoch, welcome.
We wanted to get a picture.
I don't know.
So Faith, can we get a picture with you?
Yeah.
I'll get on this side. Have to have the picture.
Okay.
There we go. 1, 2.
Okay.
Thank you. That's your granddaughter?
My granddaughter, 1 of 10.
Hi there. I know your mom came up there, and you are what?
I'm Catherine.
And your mom?
Yes, thank you.
Michelle, your mom, Kelly.
Sorry.
Hey, how's it going? Great to see you. Absolutely. Thank you. It's so nice to see you. My honor. My honor. Congratulations again.
Hi. How are you? Happy birthday. Virginia? Where do you live? Ambassador, great to see you. Yes. This is my wife, Abby.
My granddaughter, Karen.
Nice to meet you. So nice to meet you. Yeah, we'll be at your booth. So nice to meet you. See you again.
Thank you very much. My granddaughter. My granddaughter. And this is my daughter-in-law, Gregory. So nice to meet you. Oh, I wanted to. That's so nice. This is my granddaughter, Kathy. beautiful. Thank you for seeing all the way. We love you. Thank you. Oh my God. My granddaughter.
We gotta get a picture.
Okay.
Shouldn't you be in the middle?
Thank you. I met your granddaughter. Will and everyone is right behind me. I met some of your grandchildren. Oh, yeah. Will is there with her. You look wonderful. This is fantastic. You've got a great journey.
I see so many pictures. What a resemblance.
No, I'm a
Catherine is nice.
in my spare time I'm chasing
Pictures I think I have.
Are you here?
Yeah. I haven't seen her in a while.
How long you been back there?
I'm sorry. I want to get a picture.
Was that high already?
I'm waiting for Charles. I'd love to get a picture.
She wanted me to say, Mom, I'm not going to. Mom, Mom, I can't block the camera.
Oh, okay. Well, go, please go say hello to Michael Reagan. Introduce Charles to Michael Reagan.
I'm sorry?
There's the photographer right there.
I would have known you anywhere.
She's asking.
And they look wonderful. Oh my gosh, Charles.
There's Michael Reagan. I didn't know so well. With Michael Reagan.
Michael Rowe, how are you? So nice to see you. You look terrific. How are you? What a great evening. Very exciting. Sorry. You've heard of Charles Whittlesey, right? Lost the Tigers.
She's running around with Brian.
Oh, there's 6. So, and Michael Reagan's right over there. There he is.
Congratulations. It's great to see you.
So please go. There he is. So please go.
Thanks. Perfect. Thanks for the hey.
Charles, if you do something.
Thanks.
Can you make it
This Sunday you're talking about? My son insists he's coming tomorrow, and that's why I asked him.
Have you ever been to the Swiss? Faith was very instrumental in finding a building.
You've got a lot of friends here, and we all feel lucky.
I'm free. I really am.
What do you teach?
No, you won't stay free though.
No, I will. I care about it. Nice to see you.
Congratulations. What a tremendous honor. What a wonderful venue.
Thank you. And there's Michael Reagan right here.
How are you?
Well, she's my sister, so I just want to say
from that side? There's a bunny and something down there.
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. I love your story about Arosa. I love skiing at Arosa.
Yes. You know, it's really true.
I didn't think. Oh, you're Catherine.
For my job selection
afterwards. Well, how many children were in your family?
93.
And the others did not go into baseball. But what an idyllic place to grow up.
Yes, it is.
Heaven on earth.
Yes, that's a, I don't want to Lindbergh.
Oh, how do you
John Lindbergh, Foreign Service colleague.
Yes, thank you for coming.
Congratulations. Very nice to see you recognized.
Thank you. It's very kind of everyone to be here.
Well, so what years were you been there? In the 80s.
3 years in the You'll get some more.
All right. Congratulations.
Oh, fantastic. I'm so glad. Oh, great. There's my I will. Absolutely. Yeah, I've been on it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They're very well. They look fantastic. Thank you. So do you. Well, you were there. None of my classmates. Re-outfit because she is. I do.
You always do something because it's always.
I know, but he'll do it again. There's Justice Scalia.
How are you? So good to see you.
Oh,
Seen you a long time.
so beautiful. Nice to see you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're living in Florida now.
I know.
Yeah.
But I see you. I see you on C-SPAN. I see you. I see you on every now and then. Yes.
Good. Well, this is a great event. This is a great event.
Thank you very much. And just like Reagan came all the way from California. Came all the way.
Well, you know, hard to turn that down. We've known each other about a week and a half now. How are you? So good to see you.
Get a sense of she's got a broken toe and it's getting worse, so the doctor said, do not go anywhere.
Known each other a few years. I was able to get some things moved out of the way and be able to come back. And
Yes, well, she said, the doctor said no, she doesn't want to walk into it or from it. Yeah, no, I told her. I let her know.
Malcolm will be here. My goodness. Your beard is
darker. After Christmas, it'll darken.
looks good.
Yeah, and it really is a little. What I've been doing, I found out my device is the best. It's called the Fitbit. You're doing fine. It gives you your great day. And it also gives you miles. It gives you the number of calories you burn to this point in the day, and then it gives you number of floors. I don't know how you get the steps of the floors even more. And I've lost 30 pounds.
There is Benedict XVI.
So,
one guy still stands.
like, well, the office, so I don't want to talk now, but I had just a small problem that I thought you helped me with. Just but that was what I called about, talk to your secretary today.
Oh, he does say no.
Yeah, she said you try to call in the morning, but if you can, I'll call next week.
What receiving line? What are you talking about? We're not in the receiving line. We're here.
Nice to see you. Wow. Colleen is our director of operations. You have no worries.
Thank you. There's Justice Scalia and Michael Reagan right here. It's right there. It's Michael Reagan.
still the linchpin.
Well, you taught me skate. Help me with your feet. Help me learn to skate. Yes, they're here. This is Dr. Cher, with your mother. Always. Always. I can't say you say hello to Michael Reagan. Do you want the drink down? No, it's all right. Okay. Thank you for the seat. Always look smash. Always. Say, do me a favor. Put my drink down.
Put your drink down. Whenever you get your photograph, please take your. Whenever you take her picture, please have her put her drink down. Perfect. Perfect. You look lovely. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, my granddaughter. Hi, Catherine. This is
Well said. Keep up the good. Really good to see you. Looking very good. Nice to meet you, Andy Hutchins.
so nice of you. Oh, it's nice to have you.
Thank you for having me. We absolutely did. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Sorry, I just wanted to see Catherine. Yeah. And I don't see Amy. She'll come. Okay.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, hi, how are you? Good to see you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Catherine. Go say hello to Michael Reagan. There he is, right there. And Justice Scalia's there, too.
Ambassador Andrea.
Oh, Andrea. Hello.
Nice to see you. This is my husband, Tim.
How do you do, Tim? This is my granddaughter, Catherine. Nice to meet you, Andrea.
Young leader of 2004.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Hi, Dave.
Yes.
Dwayne says hello. He's just endorsed Governor Romney. Yes. He can't. He's in Waynesboro or something. It's all over the news. This was the only moment. But he says hello, and that's why I'm here. Congratulations. Oh, wonderful. I'm Susan. I'm here. Nice to meet you. Good to see you. Thank you. Congratulations. Of course.
I wrote your brother Paul. Oh, great. You look exactly like your mom. Oh, thank you. You really did. It was so wonderful to see you. Okay. All right. Okay, thanks.
Hi. Jim Elkin, and it's so good to see you. Congratulations. Hi, Jim Elkin, I head up the Washington office here for the Mars. This is Jim Carey in my office.
Jim Carey. Very pleased to meet you. We're happy to be able to do it. Hi.
Keep me alive.
I know. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'd love to introduce you to all my friends from Waynesburg. Kathy Lee and Doug Lee, our executive vice president, our new president who's brought me to Waynesburg, Judge Victor Walsky, my dear friend from Penn, and
Nice to meet you.
Larry.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Go see Justice Scalia's right there, and Michael Reagan also.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you, Faith.
Hi, Faith Red Fights. I'm here representing Chris, who's not feeling well. Oh, so nice to meet you. What a great event. We could talk anytime. We have a lot of friends here, but boy, it's just so nice around tonight.
Well, Justice Scalia's right there, and Michael Reagan.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Smithsonian Institution. This summer, it's cool to make your way downstairs.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jim Hauslein, and tonight it is my pleasure to serve as your Master of Ceremonies. I am a member of the Board of Directors of the American Swiss Foundation, which was founded in 1945, and am an alumnus of the Young Leaders Conference of 2001, which was hosted by Wholesome, a 100-year-old global Swiss corporation. Thank you, Thomas Abischer, my classmate from 2001. As I understand, Wholesome is hosting next year's conference as well. One request, and I do have to make this, but please, if you've not already done so, please turn off the sound on your cell phone for this evening. As an enthusiast of aviation and space exploration, and of course a member of the board of directors of the American Swiss Foundation, I'd like to point out the red balloon capsule of the Breitling orbiter right behind me, which was the Swiss explorer Bertrand Piccard piloted nonstop around the world 13 years ago. It is very symbolic of this evening's dinner, the celebration of the American-Swiss relationship, and a very prominent Swiss artifact in such a major Washington museum. Mr. Justice, members of Parliament, ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you just joining us this evening, tonight's dinner is part of a two-day event entitled Building Bridges. Many of us in the room just spent today together trying to solve the world's problems, and tomorrow we're going to tackle what's left. This week's two-day meeting in Washington, D.C., highlighted by tonight's dinner, is our first ever reunion of the over 900 alumni of the Young Leaders Conference organized by the American Swiss Foundation and hosted annually by a major Swiss corporation. Each year since 1990, approximately 50 American and Swiss accomplished young professionals gather in Switzerland to tour the most beautiful countryside, meet with senior business, government, academic, cultural, and military leaders, and exchange views, often with lively debate, on contemporary issues facing our respective countries in the world. As a member of the Young Leaders class of 2001, I can personally say that it was a very meaningful experience and enriched my own views relating not only to American-Swiss issues, but global issues as well. Our two-day program this week and tonight's dinner are focused on reinforcing the bridges between our two countries and to honor the person who built many of those bridges and founded the annual Young Leader Program in 1990, Ambassador Faith Whittlesey. Madam Ambassador, we are so pleased to have the opportunity to honor your lifetime achievements tonight. Before I introduce the many dignitaries in the room this evening, let me welcome to the podium the chairman of the American Swiss Foundation. Mr. Stephen Hoch is the first young leader chairman of this organization and has served in this position for the past year and a half. Mr. Hoch was a young leader in the class of 1990. He is also a past member of the National Board of the Smithsonian, and as such, the person who made this evening possible. Please welcome Mr. Hoch.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this gala dinner of the very first Swiss Leadership Conference. And General Daly, thank you so much for welcoming us here tonight and co-hosting this evening. It's quite a fitting place next to the Swiss capsule here and these fabulous surroundings to celebrate the friendship between the U.S. and Switzerland and also to honor Faith Whittlesey. So thank you all for coming from far and wide and coming together to be with us tonight. It's a terrific turnout and we're very excited about this. Let me extend a warm welcome to one of our honored guests, Justice Antonin Scalia. He was the guest speaker at our annual dinner in the year 2000 in New York and gave very inspiring remarks about the history of the American-Swiss relationship and the philosophy and shared values of our two countries. So we appreciate very much that you're spending the evening with us and look forward to some remarks from you a little later in the program. As many of you know, the Swiss Leadership Conference has been inspired and organized by the alumni of the Young Leaders Conference that you just heard about from Jim. Of the 900 American and Swiss alumni, there are 135 of you in the room tonight, representing all 23 classes from 1990 until the coming one this November. So what I'd like to do is ask all of the alumni in the room to please stand so that you can be recognized by the other guests and they can ask you about this experience. Many of these former young leaders are now senior leaders in their respective countries, and one of our efforts in the foundation is to harness that alumni network to continue to improve the relations of our two countries. We had a full day of animated discussions today, and we're going to forge ahead again tomorrow. What we generally do in these gatherings is measure the success of the evening by the buzz in the room. And given how difficult it was to get everybody seated and quiet tonight, I think the buzz in the room is pretty exciting. So what I wish you now is an inspired evening of good fellowship in these magnificent surroundings, and I wish you bon appetit. Jim, back to you.
While they're clearing your appetizer, I'd like to proceed with the program. On behalf of the young leaders and the American Swiss Foundation, I would like to thank all of the benefactors and sponsors of our organization, and in particular tonight's dinner. The Foundation's Young Leaders Conference, alumni reunions, and other programs would not be possible without these loyal benefactors. The patrons of tonight's dinner are listed on the dinner program, which you will receive on the way out. The sponsors of the American Swiss Foundation programs are recognized on the cover of Building Bridges brochure, which you will receive later in your gift bags along with other items. This evening, we are honored to have with us many distinguished guests, a few of whom I would like to have stand as I introduce them. First, we are honored to have with us tonight the Ambassador of Switzerland to the United States of America and his wife, Manuel and Christine Sauger. We are very grateful for their generous hospitality that they extended last night to both the American and Swiss young leaders at their home, and for his willingness to co-host this important dinner with Stephen Hoch, our chair, and General Daly. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. We are also honored to have a member of the Swiss Parliament with us tonight, the Honorable Christa Markwalder. Where is she? Back there. Present with us are several members of the Swiss Diplomatic Corps, including Ambassador Francois Arras, Consul General of Switzerland in New York, Minister Guillaume Scherer, Deputy Chief of Mission of the Embassy of Switzerland, Minister Joseph Rangley, Head of Economic and Financial Affairs of the Embassy, Consul General Julius Anderegg, Swiss Consul General in San Francisco, we are honored to have with us a member of the United States House of Representatives tonight, Representative Bill Huizenga, who flew back from Michigan in the middle of his re-election campaign to join us tonight. We are also pleased to welcome Mrs. Megan Beyer, the wife of the very much admired U.S. Ambassador to Switzerland. Her husband, Ambassador Beyer, regrets very much not being with us tonight. We appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. Michael Reagan, the son of the President Reagan, now a much sought-after TV commentator and political analyst, flew in from California. Where's Michael Reagan? In addition, we are delighted to have with us Ambassador Joseph Gildehorn and his lovely wife Alma, who served together in Switzerland after Ambassador Whittlesey did from 1989 to 1993. Ambassador Gildehorn is a member of the Board of Directors of the American Swiss Foundation and the chairman of the Woodrow Wilson Center. He will be hosting our conference tomorrow all day, so thank you very much for your hospitality. We are especially honored that 7 members of the Swiss Advisory Council of the American Swiss Foundation have traveled across the Atlantic Ocean to be with us this evening. I would ask each to please rise and remain standing, and for the audience to please hold your applause until all have been announced. Would you please welcome Adrian Keller, Peter Weibel, Harry Hochmeister, who will be speaking later tonight, Martin Navil, Gabriella Lippenholst, Thomas Abischer, and Urs Leinbacher, the Secretary of the Advisory Council. I would like to give special thanks to Gabriella Lippenholst, who along with board member Joe Hurd, co-chairs the Alumni Council and worked very hard on this conference and dinner. Joe Hurd, would you please also stand and be recognized at this time? We are also privileged that several other members of the Foundation's Board of Directors could join us this evening. Again, I would ask that each to please rise and remain standing, and for the audience to please hold your applause until all have been announced. Marcus Binkert, Laurent Shea, Brandy Davis, Joe Connolly, Patrick Ferrier, Charlie Giroux, Joe Gildenhorn, Will Nixon, Robert Pelzer, and Douglas Sears. Please remain standing. I would also pleased to welcome John Carnash, who represents the Schindler Elevator Corporation on our board. And also amongst this group, we are delighted that 11 of our 12 Alumni Council members are present. Please also stand and be recognized. Kent Anker, John Beecham, Renee Buholzer, Alon Kane, Kevin Gentry, Kimberly Reed, Bettina Schaller, Patricia Schramm, Rolf Vater, and of course our co-chairs, Joe Hurd and Gabriella Lippenholst. Please give them all a round of applause. Sorry, Patricia. At this time, I would also like to recognize and thank the individuals and institutions who hosted the Building Bridges Conference today and will also host tomorrow. Dr. John Lanchowski, founder and president of the Institute of World Politics, a graduate school of statecraft and diplomacy here in Washington, D.C., which tomorrow from 4 to 6 will host the launch of the book about Ambassador Whittlesey's life, Backwards in High Heels, by Thomas Carty, to which you are all welcome, and the Cato Institute, which hosted events earlier today, and the many Cato scholars who are joining us tonight. A special thank you to the staff and long-term volunteers of the American Swiss Foundation. Patricia Schramm, Catherine Hall, Laura McGeary, Jean Waring, Nancy Price, and Desiree Barlock. And I'd like to just say a couple comments before we give them a round of applause. Our staff and volunteers have worked tirelessly to organize the two-day conference and the dinner tonight, while at the same time, our limited staff is also working on the 2012 Young Leaders Conference, which will take place in just 4 weeks in Zurich, Switzerland. So please join me in recognizing our wonderful staff and volunteers. Thanks to host Zurich Insurance Group and to National Chancellor Christina Markwalder for putting together the 2012 Young Leaders Conference just coming up in 4 weeks in November. I always like to save the best for last. We have a huge turnout tonight because so many of us feel like we were part of Ambassador Whittlesey's extended family. We all know how important family is to faith, and we are blessed to have many of our immediate family members with us tonight. Her daughter Amy, with 3 of her children, Paul, Catherine, and Ryan. Her son William, with his oldest of his 4 children, Charles, and her daughter-in-law, Ellen Whittlesey. Please welcome to you and all the other members of your extended family. Now, it is my great pleasure to introduce to you a very special guest who is in his natural environment tonight, being surrounded by airplanes, spacecraft, and other flying machines. Mr. Hohmeister is a pilot in his spare time, but during the week, he is the Chief Executive Officer of Swiss International Airlines. Swiss, and before it Swissair, have been loyal sponsors of the Young Leaders Conference every year since its inception in 1990 and make this program possible. Mr. Hohmeister also serves as chairman of the Swiss American Chamber of Commerce. Please welcome Mr. Hohmeister.
Yeah, thank you very much for the kind introduction tonight here. Good evening, Ambassador Whittlesey, Justice Scalia, Ambassador Zaga. Dear ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure and honor to be here, and again, special thanks to General Daly that he is hosting us here today. So far, and this is not, this is unofficial now, so far I thought I have the best job as the CEO of an airline, but when I see all this here, my heart is beating so loud. I hope you don't hear that as a microphone tonight, so it's really fantastic here. So thank you for not just serving us here, but having us here in this nice environment. Being here is an extreme honor for anyone in the aviation industry, and especially also as a member of the Swiss American Chamber of Commerce. Here in front of the orbiter, in which Swiss aviation pioneer Bernard Picard and his friend Brian Jones went non-stop around the world in 19 days, 21 hours and 47 minutes, and set 7 world records in this process. Now, Bernard's latest project, the Solar Impulse, continues to underline the importance of innovation and need for new technologies, as they are such a phenomenal driver for our industry and for all our future, meeting our basic urgencies of mobility. The vision of Bernard was not setting new world records, but raising and sharpening awareness of the current challenges that humanity faces: the environment, renewable energies, and global warming. We are immensely proud of Bernard Picard and also of Switzerland's first astronaut, Claude Nicollier. Claude Nicollier currently is in the news again with his Clean Up Space, his satellite Clean Space One, designed and built in the Swiss Space Center. The Swiss Space Center is part of the Swiss Federal Institute for Technology in Lausanne. And all apart from the fact the present Mars rover is powered by Swiss engines, and so on and so on. So you see, Swiss and the Swiss nation is very much involved, not just on the surface of this nice orbit, but clearly above and even above the skies. Swiss International Airlines is playing also a part in this. We are working with many North American partners, so I just came here with our aviation partner, who is United Airlines, but we are also working together with North American partners on the future of aviation, like Pratt & Whitney or Bombardier, to develop the newest generation of modern aircraft. As launching customer of the new Bombardier C-Series, we are pleased to help to develop this new innovative aircraft generation, including its revolutionary new engine, which is produced by Pratt & Whitney. The new C-Series will be twice as quiet as the existing aircraft generation, and it will burn 25 to 30% less fuel, and therefore will contribute to the environment and reduce air pollution. So as you can see, our Swiss roots are not just driven by quality management and efficiency, but the desire to excel and to improve significantly the environment is also part of our motivation besides global mobility. On behalf of the Swiss American Chamber of Commerce and the Swiss International Airlines, we support tonight the Building Bridges theme and look forward to connecting you with the world as our very accomplished Swiss leaders here tonight have done in the past and continue also in the future. Thank you for that. Thank you for the good connection between many, many people here. Thank you for the good connection between two great nations, and enjoy the evening. Thank you very much.
If there's anybody that I failed to recognize earlier, I apologize. And there is one that I would like to recognize now that was a late addition. I would like all of us to welcome the Swiss ambassador to Iran, who in Iran not only represents Swiss interests, but since the U.S. does not have official diplomatic relations, also represents U.S. interests there. So would you please join me in welcoming the Swiss ambassador to Iran, Ambassador Livla Loy. You must have a very interesting job. Now, it's time to talk about the person who brought us here tonight, Ambassador Faith Whittlesey. Ambassador Whittlesey, we have an overflow attendance at this evening's dinner for one reason, and that reason is you. While the context of tonight's dinner is the American Swiss Foundation, which you joined as chairman in 1989, your contributions that we are honoring tonight begin much earlier with your years of diplomatic service and representing our country so ably and with such dignity and grace in Switzerland. Tonight, we want to recognize your leadership, passion, relentless involvement, and very personal commitment to furthering the cultural, business, and diplomatic relations between Switzerland and the United States of America. I think I can speak for everyone in the room when I say that our recognition and appreciation is very heartfelt and personal for each and every one of us. Without you, there would be no 900 alumni of the past Young Leaders Conferences, no reunion, no building bridges, no deepening of the relationship and trust between Switzerland and the United States of America, and no future Young Leader Conferences still to come. In anticipation of tonight's event, we asked the alumni of the Young Leaders Conference to send us their thoughts about you. Many, many of them responded, and we have collected those tributes in a folder that I have over here and will present to you to take home this evening. When I read the letters, I was struck by how often certain words reappear: grace, leadership, wit, vision, poise, perseverance, inspiration, conviction, generosity, warmth, wisdom, intelligence, tenacity, strength, service, and probably most importantly, friend. Let me just give you a small sampling of quotes from some of the letters from some of the young leaders, and I'll move through this quickly. And I quote, Faith always liked a quote about Ginger Rogers. She did everything Fred Astaire did, but backwards and in high heels. Faith did more than any person I've ever known, a true Ginger Rogers of the political and diplomatic worlds, and with as much grace, unquote. The second quote, the next quote is, Ambassador Whittlesey is an inspiration to us all. This amazing Cold War warrior helped President Reagan defeat Russian communism. For countless young leaders, Faith has been a constant source of support and wisdom. She is the ultimate connector between people of similar interests and insights. She sets an unsurpassed example of cheerful diplomacy in tense situations when people disagree. It is a privilege to know this great woman of faith. Next quote. I appreciate so deeply the vision you had in creating an amazing exchange program that allowed me and countless others to learn and grow. You've been responsible now for thousands of connections between Switzerland and the United States. Connections that have increased understanding, cooperation, and international friendship. And the last quote, if it were not for faith, I, a Swiss young leader, would never have met my American wife. Talk about faith promoting true and non-platonic Swiss-American friendship. And that's from someone who's in the room tonight. Several letters have captured the following. Faith invests heavily in the younger generation, promotes genuine interest and open debate. The person you want in your corner. She can put fear in the heart of those not in hers. Over the decades, through highs and lows in the relationship, while on duty and off duty, she has maintained the relationship between our two countries. We love her and are so glad to have this chance to honor her. Thank you, Madam Ambassador, for your service to our country and for building a program that has brought the world a little closer together. To honor Faith, several good friends have traveled here all the way from Switzerland. Among them are Susie and Thomas Gubelin, who own a family-run watch and jewelry business. The Gubelins hosted the Young Leaders Conference for a day in Lucerne when I was a participant in 2001, and I will never forget the tour of the beautiful Old Town. I would like to ask Susie Gubelin to step to the podium now to share a special story with us.
What would you do if you were asked to design an award for faith? I'm sure it would be as big a challenge for you, ladies and gentlemen, as it was for us. Not that Faith is a difficult person with a peculiar taste. Oh no, what the challenge was to find something that showed her many talents and her achievements. To create a trophy, sort of an Oscar, was one possibility. But this was soon rejected because we couldn't make up our mind whether it should look like the Statue of Liberty or Helvetia or a combination of the two. A medal or an order was another option, but we felt this was too pompous for a graceful person like Faith. So we decided on a piece of jewelry. Among the many designs, we chose a brooch that can also be worn as a pendant, symbolizing adaptation to changes without loss of principles. The form of the pin, a circle, stands for the everlasting friendship between America and Switzerland. The elliptical rings on the top show how the ideas flow between the young leaders and exchange of thoughts go on. Finally, the gem in the middle, a tourmaline that was unearthed from the Himalaya mines in California and set in a piece of jewelry handcrafted in Switzerland. The pin, together with a plaque with words of appreciation, is put on a piece of rock that Thomas and I found on the slopes of Mount Corvatsch in the Engadine.
Thank you, Susie. What an amazing jewel and beauty and perfection. For those of you who can't see it in the back, come up later and also look at the photographs and the original after the program tonight. And now the award presentation. We are honored to have with us tonight one of the greatest constitutional scholars of our time. Everyone knows Justice Scalia is a distinguished member of the United States Supreme Court and rightly famous for his intellect, commitment to principle, and amazing wit. Most of you know that he was nominated to the court by President Ronald Reagan in 1986. But here are a few things you may not know about him. First, Faith Whittlesey introduced him to Ronald Reagan, who then appointed him to the Supreme Court. So, Ambassador Whittlesey, thank you. And as Stephen Hoch, our chairman, mentioned earlier, Justice Scalia studied in Switzerland as an undergraduate student from Georgetown University. Third, he gave the most substantive and thoughtful speech about democracy and federalism in Switzerland at our annual dinner of the American Swiss Foundation in New York in 2000, and we've distributed his remarks widely to our members. And fourth, he swore in Ambassador Whittlesey for her second tour as Ambassador to Switzerland. We are so grateful and honored that you accepted our invitation to be here, Mr. Justice. Thank you for joining us. Please welcome Justice Scalia.
I'm a friend of Switzerland. As you've heard, I studied there my third year of college. I'm a member of the French fraternity in Fribourg, which is Sarigna. I still have my casquette from that organization. 2 summers ago, I taught in Switzerland, in Geneva, a program run by an American law school, but conducted in the University of Geneva, and had some Swiss students. So I am a good friend, as the United States is a good friend of Switzerland. I think I noted in my earlier address that was referred to that Switzerland is our oldest friend. It's probably the only major country of Europe that we've never been at war with. I mean, it's a peaceful country, but one reason it has been peaceful is that it believes in the maxim that the Romans believed in: si pacem vis, para bellum. If you want peace, prepare for war. When you're prepared for war, people will not attack you, and that's been the secret of Switzerland's peacefulness for many centuries. They're ready for war. In my last trip to Switzerland, I forget where it is, but there is a statue to my favorite Swiss hero, a hero who in the 1400s, I believe, Winkelried, most Americans never heard of him. The Swiss were fighting the Austrians. The Austrians were invading Switzerland, and the Swiss infantry was prepared to meet the Austrians. They were vastly outnumbered by the Austrians. As the Austrian line approached, Winkelried turned to the man next to him and he said, "Take care of my family," whereupon, as the historical account has it, he stepped forward and gathered the spears into his chest, creating a gap in the Austrian line through which the Swiss infantry poured, and they defeated the Austrians. Winkelried is a great hero in Switzerland. not heard of much in this country. He should be heard of. He is a model not just for soldiers, but for all sorts of purported leaders who do not like to take the spears. If you want to be a good leader, if you want to be faithful to principle, whether it's religious principle, political principle, whatever, gather the spears into your chest. Winkelried did that. The Swiss are peaceful because they're courageous, because they're prepared. The second reason I'm here is that I'm a friend of faiths. And I don't really know how far back it goes. It goes certainly back into the Reagan administration. The Gipper appointed me as he appointed Faith twice to ambassadorships. She has been a marvelous ambassador, and there's no one that has done more for Swiss-American relations than Faith Whittlesey. She's the reason that I'm a member of this organization, and she's the reason that there are much closer ties between this country and Switzerland than would otherwise have been the case. Faith, I don't know that there are many ambassadors who double dip, you know, who get appointed once and then come back home and then go back again. It's so good that it was you. Well, am I supposed to present this this big stone? Where is it? Yes. Oh, it is indeed lovely, Faith. Come on up here. And I think you can remove the brooch from the rock, so you don't have to carry the rock around all the time, you know.
I was deeply touched, indeed quite overwhelmed, when I heard that my friend Justice Scalia was going to present me this award. You heard that the Justice swore me in to my second tour as ambassador to Switzerland. I did introduce him to Ronald Reagan, but Ronald Reagan knew of the reputation of Justice Scalia before I actually introduced him. He thought so much of him that after he swore me in and they met in 1985, the next year, Ronald Reagan appointed Justice Scalia to the High Court, and he was confirmed 1,000-0 by the Senate. For me personally, Justice Scalia is an heroic figure. Not only because he is probably one of the most brilliant justices in U.S. history, but for me personally because of his steadfast and principled defense of innocent human life. I'm deeply grateful to all of you who are here, for every one of you, especially to all those who organized and sponsored this event, this gala event. To Stephen Hoch, the dedicated chairman of the American Swiss Foundation, who actually proposed the idea of the Young Leaders Conference before I championed it. Actually, we did it together. And to my good friend Patricia Schramm, who has exhibited unparalleled executive skills. To the other co-hosts of this dinner, my good friends, Ambassador and Mrs. Manuel Sager, and the other distinguished Swiss diplomats who are here. The Swiss diplomats are always polished to a high gloss. They are the best, as anyone knows who has ever negotiated with them or on the other side. Thank them all for being here. We appreciate it very much. And thanks to General Daly, Jack Daly. This is a shrine to American achievement in science and technology, and it's a great honor that you have invited us here this evening. Thank you very, very much. And to our MC, Jim Hauslein, many of you may not know, he's one of the most successful American entrepreneurs of this generation. Thanks, Jim. As the longtime CEO of Sunglass Hut International, he has done very, very well. We admire you a lot, Jim. And we hope there are lots more American entrepreneurs like you in the future. To Michael Reagan, my good friend, my friend of 32 years. Michael, thank you for coming all the way from California and all the good work you're doing to pass on your father's principles. And thanks also for writing the foreword to my book, the book about my life. Chiefly thanks to President Reagan, I was given the opportunity to serve my country at the highest levels. I had the honor of being the first to greet President Reagan in 1985 in Geneva as he deplaned for his first summit meeting with Soviet Premier Gorbachev. The photo of that event is on the cover of the book. Because of President Reagan, I came to a fuller appreciation of Switzerland and her culture, of this constitutional republic that has been at the crossroads of Western civilization and history for centuries. I learned that Switzerland is much more than a beautiful poster. It is a center of learning, as we have seen before our eyes the very learned Justice Scalia, who attended the University of Fribourg. And we must remember that it was the Swiss, after all, who educated Albert Einstein, among others, at its world-famous engineering university, the ETH in Zurich. Switzerland is a center of innovation and entrepreneurship. 26 Nobel Prizes since 1901, mostly in science and medicine. That's quite a record. Switzerland is a center of religion and theology. When the Pilgrims came to the United States on the Mayflower, they brought with them and relied on the Geneva Bible. Actually, the Geneva Reformation had a great impact on the American founding. There is a book called The Geneva Reformation and the American Founding, and its author is with us tonight, the Reverend Dr. David Hall. I don't know where you are, David, but somewhere in this room. And we all appreciate the humanitarianism of the Swiss, especially the work of the International Committee of the Red Cross, with which the United States is closely affiliated. And of course, Switzerland is a place for the arts. The great sculptor Giacometti and the Basel art fairs. Switzerland is a place for international discussion, starting with the arbitration of the battleship Alabama claims of the United States against Great Britain after the Civil War in 1872, to the League of Nations, to the Geneva Conventions of 1949, to the Davos Symposium today, just to name a few. Switzerland is also known for its diplomatic good offices. Did you know Switzerland served as the intermediary in the surrender of Japan to the United States in 1945? And as many of you already know, the Swiss represent us in Iran and Cuba today. Switzerland prizes intellectual freedom. Remember Solzhenitsyn, who fled to Switzerland after his release from the Soviet Gulag. Switzerland is known for wise governance. It's a real direct democracy. Recall the Swiss people turned down joining the EU before it was cool to do so. Even last week, they turned down more governmental nanny state regulation of smoking. Amid the fiscal crisis in Europe, Switzerland has actually managed to balance its budget and maintain a very low unemployment rate of approximately 2.5%, and a very strong currency. Wise investors usually own some Swiss francs. With well-known civic virtues and responsible leadership, the Swiss people remain highly educated, industrious, prosperous, and free. The long-standing U.S.-Swiss relationship traces back to the American founding, as you heard, when we were the only republics in the world. Then people called us the sister republics. Speaking as an American, this relationship is and has been over the years of great value to the United States and ought therefore to be very carefully nurtured and passed on to succeeding generations. I pray that we in the United States will respect the sovereignty of the Swiss Republic and its laws as much as we expect our own sovereignty to be respected. Right now, there seems to be a lack of reciprocity. The stakes are very high for the United States, putting at risk the vast store of goodwill the United States has enjoyed in Switzerland. The Young Leaders Conference, its supporters, and the friends that I made through my association with U.S. Embassy Bern and the foundation have enriched my life beyond measure. I treasure every conversation, every shared experience, every extension of hospitality to me and my family over the years. In this room, I see dear familiar faces who have been with me through many good times and some difficult trials. Thank you all for your kindness, your understanding of my many foibles. Credit for this award goes to many people who have guided and assisted me along the way. Primarily my late parents, Amy Koval Ryan and Martin Ryan, and my late husband, Roger Whittlesey, but also many others close to my heart who are in this room. The greatest blessings of my life are my Christian faith and my family, my son Henry and his wife Ellen, my daughter Amy, the mother of 6, my younger son William and his wife Nicole, parents of 4. 4 of my 10 grandchildren are here, including Catherine Porter O'Neill, who is celebrating her 19th birthday today. Happy birthday, Catherine. And I would be remiss if I did not extend thanks to the amazing doctors who have kept me alive all these years. I'm the longest lived patient in their melanoma clinic. I have had stage 4 melanoma for 18 years. And part of the thanks for that medical miracle goes to the Swiss pharmaceutical companies, the people of Novartis. Thank you. It has been a joy for me to serve also for many years on the board of the internationally famous Swiss-based elevator and escalator corporation, Schindler, which provides 5,000 jobs in the United States. Thank you, Schindler. Thank you, Alfred Schindler. It has also been a pleasure for me to serve for many years on the board of Velocys Communications, a New York Stock Exchange company in Michigan, Bill, headquartered in Michigan, which started in the founder's garage and developed a uniquely American marketing tool, couponing, both print and digital, and is now a $2 billion company employing 5,000 people in the United States, another entrepreneurial success story. 2 members of the board of Velocys who serve with me are here, Todd Wisely and Walter Snyder. Thank you for being here from Velocys. Tom Carty, the American-Swiss young leader and professor of history and American studies at Springfield College. Thanks for writing an excellent book about my life, which comes out today. In case you wondered, Tom is a Democrat. The title he chose, Backwards in High Heels, derives from a 1984 speech that I gave on President Reagan's behalf to a large convention of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. I was, at that time, the only woman on the 18-person senior staff of President Reagan, referring to the Hollywood famous dance team of Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, and wearing high heels. I attempted to justify my presence to this large Teamster gathering, saying, remember, Ginger Rogers did everything Fred Astaire did, and she did it backwards and in high heels. The Teamsters roared their approval, but more importantly, they cast their votes overwhelmingly for Ronald Reagan in the 1984 election. Yes, there was a time when Republicans enjoyed labor union support, which is not surprising considering a younger Ronald Reagan was elected to head the Screen Actors Guild. Pat Shanley is here. She's the president-elect of the American Rose Society, and other Rosarians are with her. I thank them all for naming the Faith Whittlesey Rose for me in 2006. We have lovely Faith Whittlesey roses in bloom for this occasion and a beautiful magazine with the Faith Whittlesey Rose on the cover. Thanks to Pat Henry of Roses Unlimited Nursery of South Carolina and the American Rose Society. Did you know that it was Ronald Reagan who made the rose the American floral emblem, he did that. Sometimes I think that our MC tonight, Jim Houseline of Sunglass Hut fame, had a sideline working with the American Rose Society, providing rose-colored glasses to many of our politicians here in Washington. To John Lanchowski, my fellow Reagan White House staffer, who is also here, thank you for your vision and commitment to the Institute of World Politics, a fully accredited graduate school of diplomacy and statecraft here in DC, which you founded and built, and for which I was privileged to serve as chairman for 6 years. Another educational entrepreneur is here in the room, with whom I have worked together closely in several projects. He is the chancellor of Patrick Henry College, Michael Farris. Thank you, Michael, for your friendship over the years. Deepest thanks go to all my friends in Pennsylvania, where my professional career began, starting with the University of Pennsylvania, which gave me a full tuition scholarship, to law school, to the Office of the United States Attorney in the Eastern District of Pennsylvania, in which I served for 2 years, in a time of great conflict and protest during the Vietnam War. Yes, other people don't, but I consider myself a Vietnam vet. And on the subject of Philadelphia, I would like to welcome the mayor from across the river in Camden, the Honorable Dana Redd, the mayor of Camden, New Jersey. Welcome. Also a young leader. And to the new owner of the Philadelphia Inquirer, also an old friend, George Norcross. I'm so glad you're taking the helm of this great newspaper, George, and wish you well. It was established in 1829 and is the third longest surviving newspaper in the United States. Your paper gave me a glowing editorial in 1981 when I was named ambassador to Switzerland. How happy I was to read it after all the fierce political battles I had been involved in up to that point. Early on, the powerful old guard political leaders made fun of my upstart campaign ladies and called us the skirts. But I'm glad to report we beat the button-down shirts almost every time. The people of Delaware County, Pennsylvania, thankfully elected and re-elected me, which gave me firsthand but quite bruising experience in the rough and tumble world of politics. They also helped me build political capital I could use to great effect to help Ronald Reagan in 1976 and 1980. There are many people in this room who were on the front lines with me, with Ronald Reagan. Morton Blackwell, Mona Charen, Bob Riley, John Fetters, Barbara Hayward, Susan Graff, Lynn Henry, Mark Klugman, John Lanchowski, and Chuck Cooper. To all of these frontline soldiers, who would have thought that President Reagan would be quoted as a sage in 2012 in 1 week by the likes of former President Clinton, President Obama, and Tavis Smiley of PBS. And also profound thanks to my loyal colleague and assistant, Jean Waring, without whose help none of this would have been possible. Jean is an expert Rosarian. And I am happy to report that he was recently elected to be president of the Jacksonville, Florida Rose Society. And to all associated with the American Swiss Foundation, please know how deeply I appreciate this award that you have bestowed upon me this evening. And I dedicate it to all the nearly 1,000, actually this year it will be 950, to all the nearly 1,000 American and Swiss young leaders with trust and hope and prayer that you will continue this ongoing project with energy and enthusiasm to strengthen and preserve the historic friendship between our sister republics. Thank you very much to all of you.